What's up, everybody? Wild card weekend here. I got a few plays for you here, including a FanDuel promo parlay at the end. I'm going to show you what that is. But for now, we're going to start my three-star play. The Bengals minus 6.5. Now, the spread against the Ravens right now is 7 or 7.5, depending on where you go. I pushed this down to under touchdown. I feel very confident in it as long as you put it under a touchdown. If you want to keep it at 7 in case you push and you're fine with that, that's fine. But I'd rather be on the safer side and make sure I win that by a touchdown or more. And the reason for this, the Bengals are 5-0-1 ACS in the last 6 games in January, so big time playoff pictures are at the end of the season. The Ravens are 0-3-1 against the spread in the last 4 meetings versus the Bengals. Lamar Jackson, obviously questionable, big question mark in this game. I think the line adjusts if he plays or he doesn't play. You'll see that later on in the week. Right now, the recording, it's Wednesday. This line, like I said, is at 7 or 7.5, depending on where you go. The Ravens are losing ATS spread by an average score of negative 1.3. So in other words, they're losing by at least a point on top of the ATS score already. And the Bengals are winning that spread by over 4.5. So, and then last week you saw the Bengals beat the Ravens 27-16. So that kind of shows you already what was going to happen. Now, obviously back-to-back weeks, sometimes teams can adjust. I just don't think it's there. I don't think the Ravens are a team that has shown that they can hang with a lot of the teams without Lamar Jackson. So this matchup is generally kind of closer because it's a divisional matchup. That's why I like the 6.5 there. You sell a little bit of those points, but at FanDuel you have it at 138 along with DraftKings. Caesars 133 for the best bet there. BetMGM's 135. So again, three-star play. Bengals 6.5. Okay, so next up we're looking at the Chargers and the Jaguars game here, and I like the Chargers here a lot, and I'll tell you why. The Chargers are 5-0 ATS in the last 5 meetings in Jacksonville, and then they're also in the last 10 games. The Chargers are 9-1 versus Jacksonville as a whole, home or away, and then in the last 5 games in general, they're 4-0-1 against the spread. So that tells you that they're winning against the spread, not only recently but also versus their opponents quite often. To go even further than this, you look at my last bullet point here. The Chargers are beating the Jags by an average score of over 8 of the ATS spread. In other words, if whatever the spread is for the games that they play, they're going above and beyond, beating it by 8 points, by an average of 8 points, past it. So that tells you that not only are they beating the Jags in their situations when they face them, they're also handedly beating them by over a touchdown of the spread, that is. So if they were favorited by a few, you think about that, they were scoring them over a touchdown past that. So that tells you that the matchup there is pretty one-sided, and it favors the Chargers a lot. If you look at the average scores in the past 5 games, you'll see the Chargers have been scoring 23.8 in the last 5, and the Jags have been scoring 29.2 in the last 5. I think that number's a little inflated because they're facing a lot of bad teams here. You can see here Tennessee, Houston, Jets, and Tennessee again. Those teams none of them are playing for anything. They're not good, and the Jags handily beat them. But at the same time, like I said, they're bad teams. So it's kind of like, what are we getting here? Are we getting the Jags that struggled earlier in the year, or are we getting the ones that are kind of coming up now? I think, regardless, the Chargers have come in here, beat them handedly. I've said that word a few times, but yeah, we're taking the Chargers money line minus 126. You'll find that on FanDuel right now. On Wednesday, at least the time of the recording, it might be less. See the line, I believe, started at like 1.5. Now it's at like 2.5, so it might be moving. You could probably take the points here and be okay with it, but I just feel safe with the money line in case something weird happens when the defense or special teams touchdown that kind of gets in there, and the Chargers might win by 21-20 or something like that. I don't think that's the case, but I think the safer pick here is the money line and they're not losing really anything the from the 1.5 or 2 spread to move it down to the money line. So that's where we're going with this one. 4-star play, Chargers money line. Next up, my 5-star play. This one is tasty, ladies and gentlemen. The Bills at -13 against the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are projected to start Skylar Thompson in this game because Tua's out still. Not Teddy Bridgewater, who is nursing a pinky. We're going with Skylar Thompson. If you've watched the past few games of Skylar Thompson playing, you realize that Miami's screwed. No shot they win this game. And by that number, no shot that they plan on covering this. In the last 5 games, the average score for Miami has been 19.6, while Buffalo's has been 29.2, obviously not including Cincinnati. So it tells you already the dominant difference there. 10 points just there. That's the difference. The last time they faced off in January, Miami lost 26-56. And that's important because at this time of the year in January, you're looking at the end of the season schedule or a playoff game, and you're looking at teams that want to get in and playing with the weather and things like that. The Dolphins are also 0-4 in the last 4 playoff games. By mentioning playoff games, 0-4 in the last ATS. The Dolphins playing in Buffalo are 3-7-1 in the last 11 meetings. That's terrible. And I just look at this number and I don't know how it's not 17 points. I don't get how it's not over 2 touchdowns for one. Skylar Thompson's terrible. This Miami offense is going to be terrible. The defense is going to give a bunch of points here. Not to mention, in my next pick here, I'm going to show you the bonus parlay that has to do with this game as well. But for this one, Buffalo Bills, -13. Count it. If you want to get the 13.5, count that too, because the Bills are winning by at least 3 scores. Okay, now we're taking a look at a special offer from FanDuel. They have this offer where if you spend a concurrent amount in bets in the same game parlay or a same game plus parlay, you get that back basically for free. So you see here, the breakdown goes, if you do 2 $20 parlays, you get $10 back. If you do 2 50s, you get $25 back. If you do 2 100s, you get $50 back. So it's basically free money if you want to do some parlays here. And here are my plays for that. The first parlay is going to be this one right here. You'll see I have Dawson Knox as an anytime touchdown, the Bills -9.5, the Chargers +3.5, and the Bengals -2.5. And this is significant because Dawson Knox is facing a Dolphins defense who's given up the 4th most TDs to tight ends in the league. And the last time that the Bills faced them, they gave up 2 touchdowns to the Bills tight ends. One to Dawson Knox and one to the backup. Not to mention Knox is on a 4-game touchdown streak. So odds are looking good that he's going to score a touchdown here. I really like that play. I looked at all these teams, and this is the tastiest anytime touchdown scorer one because of the streak and because of the defense that they're facing. And the one thing to note on this, you might notice that my plays don't coincide with the stars that I had there. You know, the Bills high with a high number, and the Chargers the money line. The one thing to always remember in a parlay, you always want to play it extra safe. Things can happen. This is the NFL. This is sports. Anything can happen. An injury could happen, and then all of a sudden the play shifts. If you're doing a parlay, if you don't know what that means you have to nail every single one of them. If one of them loses, your entire bet loses. So what we do here, we play it extra safe. You play with the lines to make sure that they're going to get it. The Bills are 13-point favorite or 13.5 favorite. Move that down to under 10 points. So if they win by 10 and they give up a garbage touchdown or something, and it ends up being 10 points, you're going to win it still. The Chargers, I have a lot of faith that the Chargers are going to win this one outright by a touchdown or more. But like I said, injuries are something that could always happen. So I take that hook to make sure if they lose by a field goal, they still win the spread. The Bengals, same thing. They're 9-point favorites right now. I think it's going to go even higher when Lamar Jackson says he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play from all the reports I've been reading. So I think that can move past 10. We're going to take that hook to make sure we only win by a touchdown, or I'm sorry, a field goal. And That's the first parlay. You can see a $100 wager pays out 817 right now. It might fluctuate as the days go on, but that's the first parlay. And let's ignore the lines at the bottom. I forgot to replace those. But we're gonna move on to the next parlay. Here we go, next one. Okay, second part of my parlay here. Another four-legger for you. Let's look at this. Jamar Chase has 60 plus yards in the last 7 games. Not to mention he's facing the Ravens defense, who's given up the 7th most passing yards in the league. Right? So you look at this one, Jamar Chase, you knock down the alt spread to 60. That's easy money. You can see it's negative 230. Facing the Ravens, he's got to get this. This one he's got to get. It's pretty easy. He's been getting it all along, and he's going to continue on with that defense. Move forward to Justin Herbert here. This one, a little tricky. So Herbert has thrown for over 270 yards in 6 of the last 8 games. I'm telling you on this one, I have it up there right now, but I'm waiting a day or two here for this line to move, because right now there are no alt spreads for Justin Herbert on FanDuel. So I'm showing you right now it's over 284.5. I'm waiting for that line to be 270, and then I'm taking it because he has thrown for over 270 in the last 6 of 8 games. Not to mention the Jags have given up the 5th most passing yards in the league. Now, there's a plenty case here to say you can just take that 284.5 as it stands and be comfortable with it. But I myself, and you should too, in parlay bids, you have to be over cautious and not get carried away in something like this. So I think I stick by my guns and the numbers there. 270. This could easily be a blowout scenario where Herbert ends up stop throwing. So, like I said, waiting for 270. On to the next one. I'd previously discussed in the last one. Dawson Knox is facing a bad pass defense with the Dolphins, especially versus tight ends. They're very susceptible to tight ends scoring and yardage. And Knox is averaging 47.71 yards in the last 7 games. So you take his at plus 25, and another easy money bet. All these plays combined with the Bills at 13.5. I think the Bills are 13.5 is good. If you want to move it down to 9.5, by all means, go ahead to feel safer. But like I said, I'm waiting for that 270 yards for Herbert, so that line will adjust a little more. We'll probably be at near a plus 600 or so, maybe a high 500 range. But I think both these parlays here that you're seeing here are rather safe and really good trend-wise. So those are my FanDuel trends. Those are my plays of the week. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a comment below on what you think is going to happen. And if you're tailing, let me know. If you win something, let me know based on my picks. You don't have to go with 100% of things I say. You can make your own parlay with what I give you here. I give you the trends, I give you the facts, and I give you the reasons why. And I'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully, we'll be that much richer. Enjoy.